Christy Atari, MNIA. Please can you stand up for recognition? She oversaw our administrative activities, communication coordination among various zones. And other members of the committee included architect Leke Nadi, FNIA. I don't know if he's here. There was also architect Wina Deji Folutile. I don't know. He's not here. Then we have different zones. We have also architect Zuleha Babajire. I don't see her here. I don't think she's here. But some other members of the committee who are also coordinators for our Lagos zone. So for now, we have 5 zones. We have the Lagos zone that is coordinated by architect Esther Adebayo, aesthetics. So she's our Lagos zone coordinator. She did a great job. Then our Abuja and North Central zone coordinators, architect Zuleha Babajire. Our Southeast and South zonal coordinators, architect Onyema Wankwo. For those of us who were at the morning session, you would have seen him as one of the panelists. Then for the Southwest zone is architect Sunday Oyewole. I don't know if architect Sunday Oyewole is here. Then the Northeast and Northwest zone, for now they are merged, but eventually we expect that they will be separated. But for now they are merged, and the coordinator is architect Abubakar Tukujare. So each zonal coordinator was responsible for organizing programs, liaising with state chapter leads, and ensuring the zonal activities aligned with YAF's national objectives. The zonal structure was further divided into state chapters, allowing for grassroots participation and effective coordination. So for instance, we've also started establishing state chapters, like there is the Akwa Ibom chapter has been created, and there are also a few in the Southwest. Oyo, Osun, and Ekiti chapters have also been created. In the South zone, Rivers and Akwa Ibom have also been inaugurated. The long-term goal remains to ensure that every state in Nigeria would host a functional YAF chapter, thereby guaranteeing full representation and participation of young architects nationwide. This well-structured system is reflecting YAF's commitment to collaborative leadership, inclusive representation, and continuous professional growth. Now, YAF has social media pages for online presence. So we have a Twitter page, which is at NIA_YAF. Our Instagram handle is NIA_YAF as well. So please follow us on those social media channels. So in its increasing commitment, in its commitment to increasing young architects' participation in Nigerian Institute of Architects, the YAF has effectively leveraged digital and social media platforms to enhance awareness, communication, and engagement within the profession by consistently sharing content, webinars, mentorship highlights, and project showcases. YAF has bridged the information gap among emerging architects and amplified NIA's visibility. These coordinated digital efforts have not only informed and connected young professionals, but also empowered them with knowledge, inspiration, and opportunities, cultivating a dynamic, tech-savvy community, shaping the future of architecture in Nigeria. So I'll just explain a little bit more. By being the chair of the Young Architects Forum, I also had a seat on the NIA Council. So I used to attend council meetings. And what that means is that I have access to information from the council, which you would often see shared on the YAF platforms if you're a member of any of our social media handles, especially the WhatsApp platform, as well as the Telegram platform. So what that does is that as things are being communicated from the AGS or from the council, YAF is able to hear those things firsthand and push them forward. So that's something that you may have been seeing if you're participating in any of our platforms. So in the course of the year, we had different webinars. There was one that was on scaling up and defining value that held in April. We had another webinar called Cracking the Code, and that one had, the first one, which was scaling up, had architect Zuleha Babajire, it had architect Ekaite, Basi Fuja, and myself as the panelists, while the second one had, Cracking the Code, had architect Tosi Oshinowo and Temitope Akinshuku as panelists. That one talked about understanding international competitions. Yeah. Then I think one of the high points of our activities in YAF was the 2025 Leadership Development Program, LDP. So the NIA YAF, we officially launched the maiden edition of the Leadership Development Program in 2025, commencing with Cohort 1 on the 16th of June, 2025. And we also went on to do a Cohort 2 when that one was finished. So the LDP was structured as a 3-month intensive program. The LDP was targeted at young architects with a minimum of 5 years of professional experience, as well as those holding associate or full membership status who are currently in freelance practice or employed or running their own early stage practice. So the program combined mentorship, structured a comprehensive approach to leadership and professional development. I know some members of the LDP program, Cohort 1 and 2 are here. Can you just raise your hand so we can get a sense of how many of you are here? Fantastic. At some point, we'll call them up and some of them can just share a bit of their experience. The essence of the LDP was that we realized that mentorship is very critical, very crucial to the development of young architects. And if you see some architects who are running very thriving practices today, many of them, if you check their history, had the opportunity to work in a very good practice, and they built a foundation which has allowed them to launch their firms. But then we recognize that not everybody has that opportunity, especially for those in smaller towns. And so we try to democratize the knowledge by creating this LDP, which enabled us to have knowledge sharing for people participating from all over the country. And thankfully, we had participants from all over the country. We had sessions every week for about an hour and a half, sometimes more, where top practicing architects were making a deep dive into some fundamental things for professional practice. But I'll let some of the LDP participants throw more light on this. And then aside from that, we had an excursion in Lagos. Our intention originally was to have that kind of excursion across all the zones. And I do hope that that can be continued. Our tenure as a committee will be lapsing tomorrow with the tenure of Madam President. But I believe, hopefully, the new leadership of NIA may decide to continue. And if they do, we're hoping that the new leadership of YAF will carry some of these ideas and programs going forward. But one of the things we did was an excursion. So in October 2025, members of YAF had an excursion in Lagos, and we collaborated with 2 firms in Lagos, the Building Practice and CCP, both of whom graciously opened their project sites for YAF for technical exposure and professional engagement. So on a particular day, I can't remember, was it Friday or so? Sorry? Yeah, so on a particular Friday, we had this discussion, and we went to about 4 high-rise buildings in Lagos. One of them was about 24 floors or so. And so young architects had the opportunity to, walk through these buildings, interact with the architect in charge of it, the contractors. And some of the buildings we went to were different phases. And so what we were able to do was allow architects exposure, because there are certain things that you may not be bold enough to do on your projects if you haven't seen it done somewhere. So the idea was to say, you know what, even if you have been working in a firm that does projects like that, through the YAF, you can participate in those kind of excursions. So that was the excursion we had on the 3rd of October, 2025. And I would like to appreciate the committee that put that together, led by Esther Debayo. Can you other committee members in the discussion please stand? Those of you who are here, please rise for applause. So they put it together and they did a fantastic job. They exceeded my expectations. Thank you so much. Please sit. I do hope that we'll have more of this going forward in YAF, in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, in major cities. And what we'll try to do as we do it in those cities, hopefully those in neighboring towns can also come in and participate. Because for instance, the one in Lagos, the people who came in from Abeokuta, the people who came in from Ibadan. So they came in from surrounding states to participate in that. So that that was a very rich experience for everyone. Post this report on the group so that most of us can see. Then one other major thing that we did in the course of 2024 was the YAF Architect Salary Survey. So a nationwide survey conducted by the YF gathered responses from over 346 participants across 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory, making it one of the most comprehensive assessments of architectural compensation in Nigeria. And then in this survey, the Southwest recorded the highest participation with Lagos and Abuja as dominant hubs, while the Northeast and Northwest had lower representation. And we noticed that educational qualifications varied in these responses. But I would like to try and get a copy of the salary survey we did. It was a very, very interesting survey. It showed very interesting data about the poor remuneration of young architects. And based on that, the findings of that survey, we made recommendations which were shared to the NIA Executive Council, also shared on the YAF platform, encouraging firms. In a summary, we proposed minimum monthly salaries for minimum monthly salaries of 250,000 naira for MSc holders, 180,000 for BSc holders, 150,000 for HND holders with 0 to. You'll see that in detail in our salary survey. We're seen to be earning less than 200,000 naira. I mean, over 70%, which is quite disturbing. So we made bold recommendations. So in conclusion, the year 2025, as well as 2024, was, in terms of the tenure of this committee, was a period of significant progress and consolidation of the Young Architects Forum of Nigerian Institute of Architects through strategic leadership, structured mentorship, and coordinated activities across all zones. YAF strengthened its role as a vital platform for empowering young architects and promoting innovation, collaboration, and professional excellence. The forum has been able to extend its influence through organizing several webinars, the Leadership Development Program LDP, and other educational engagements shared on our social media platforms. The forum remains committed to advancing its objectives in alignment with the broader vision of the NIA, fostering inclusivity, sustainability, and continuous professional development across all chapters. We express our heartfelt gratitude to the President of the NIA, architect dedicated to excellence and service. Thank you very much. I hope you listen carefully. Thank you.
Please, let's give another round of applause to our chair, Architect Kelechi FNIE. All right, so we'll just go straight to the next thing on the program. The Leadership Development Program was one of the activities of YAF in the last 1 year. So if you're here from Cohort 1, please can you stand up wherever you are? Cohort 1 Leadership Development Program. If you are here at the BGM, please stand up. Okay, let's take it a step further. Please, can you come to the front? Thank you. Cohort 1. In the same order, please come to my right-hand side. Then in the same order, let us have Cohort 2 members that are present at the BGM from the Leadership Development Program also come forward. Okay.
All right, I know not all of them are here, but let me just read out the names of the Cohort 1 members, and I'll read out names of the Cohort 2 members. So for Cohort 1, we had Abayomi Awotungashe, Abiodun Ebenezer Ashawe, Adebisi Damilare Ifeoluwa, Adedamola Razak Kazim, Adebola Mojid Adedeji, Adejoke Adeputi, Adeleye Adekunle Jr., Adeogo Oluwabayode Fatoyibo, Abola Tomiloba Matthew, Ajani Joel Akinsonya, Akinade Tinuade Grace, Akimbola Oluwaseun Akinyemi, Akinjo Oluwaseye Emmanuel, Anyanwo Pascal Marizu, Oshogun Emmanuel Adiale, Audu Afiz Olasukomi, Aziz Adeshe Okewushola, Badaki Sheun Oloruyomi, Bambolu Ayotola Olamide, Bambolu Sunday, Berkeley Oluwafumibi Akimbolahon, Chiamaka Osigwe, Duamiga Woyengitonye, David Olaleku Apkipelu, Edema Faithful. I know I saw a lot of these people, but I don't know where they are right now. Ekpeyong Awam, Efium, Ekpeyong, Emmanuel Ayola Obasuyi, Emmanuel Joseph Michela, Esther Olufunke Adebayo, Fatima Mohammed, Feyi Jimmy Abayomi Adepiton, Ibrahim Yusuf, Ishiguzo Benjamin Ekechukwu, Jaisimi Ayodeji Aziz, Mbeke Daberechi Samuel, Michael Abu, Mohammed Moshud Koyode, Mohammed Alamin Mohammed, Ngwokwe Ogochukwu Emanuela, Mwako Buabari Ekpe, Obasi Chimobi Oko, Ogunobi Johnson Becky, Ohiwe Israel, Ojo Paul, Oke Shedrack, Fumini Olajide, Yomi Fumilayo, Oluwadamilola Ajiboro, Oluwatimileyin Ojo, Owolabi Hikmat, Oyewole Abiola, Praise Akindoyin, Rhoda Sadokunyop, Shote Rashid Tolulope, Sumoni Oyindamola, Taiwo Emmanuel, Timothy Dabak, Ukabilu Ikenna, Wanobong Inweset Ebe, and Zainab Abadati. That was for cohort 1. Then for cohort 2, let's have a slight division between 1 and 2, so I'll know who is who. Let's okay, 1 this way, 2 this way. 1 this way, 2 this way, so that we can just tell who is who. So cohort 2, Abdulkader Abubakar Leman, Abdullahi Abati, Adagunodo Ofeluwa Faith, Oyebusola Adeoye, Adedoja Miriam. Where is Miriam? I see Miriam all over. Okay, great. Adedoja Miriam Adedoye, Adeshile Gifts, fantastic. Adewumi Kikilokbe Ajayi, Aishat Adewole, Ajayi John Adeyemi, Awoku Oluwatoshi Florence, Awolude Oluwaseun, Ayankola Ayangbemi, Blessing Oluchi. Where is Blessing? I saw her yesterday. Blessing Oluchi Chijioke, Chibike Nwajiobi, Chinonse Odensi Acharugo Onyebu, Damilola Oyeobu, Igwon Chukwode Kingsley, Elepo Bolaji Nasiru, Emmanuel Taiwo Ademi Bibe. I saw him. Is he here? Okay. Eserogene, I think I saw him as well. Eserogene Ona Okbemi Mipo, Gideon Okolie, Dodo Adedoyi, Kazim Kayode Olatunji, Makinde. Okay, so many people are missing here. Nate Uche Nate. Where's Nate? I saw Nate now. Okay, he's right there. Odusami Mayowa Tobiloba, Ogumbumi Manshaw. Yeah, I know Manshaw is around somewhere. Okedele Sunday Akimpelu, Olani Osule Adeniyi, Olariwaju Samuel Jacob, Olatunji Peter Oladoja, Oluwatobi Aderojo Ola, Oloyuko Michael, Oyenuga Yomide, Peter Ayodeji Ajeturu, Raymond Ishola Sanusi, Royal Ebuka Onyemenam, Senior Odo, Silvanus Ikashi Agiho, Uchechukwu Daniel Osisiogo, and Umar Jibril Abubakar. So all the people you see here and many of the names I mentioned were members of cohort 1 and 2. And they went through 10 weeks of very intense mentoring sessions, and they were all attached to mentors in different fields, mostly mentors that aligned with their professional leanings. And I think it's been a great experience, but you will hear from them yourselves because we're hoping for greater participation in future editions of this program. So I want to thank you all and congratulate you all for participating in this. We had hoped to make presentation of the certificates to you here in the BGM, and that's actually what we told you we would do. Unfortunately, the logistics with the secretariat were proving to be a bit difficult because of the enormity of the activities surrounding the BGM. And so we are still going to follow through with that and have the certificates dispatched to you at the minimum electronically, and if possible, we'll have them printed. But I think we can issue them electronically as soon as we can get them produced by the Secretariat. So thank you very much for your participation. And please, can we applaud these participants? Okay. Architect Udwak Udop, do you mind coming forward, take one of the front seats? We want to take some feedback from the cohort members, and to be nice that some of the facilitators who could be here. I think Architect Udwak Udop is one of the facilitators. Can you put your hands together for him as he comes up? He's a partner with Collaborations Consultant Partners in Lagos, CCP. They also were the ones who collaborated with us for the excursion. So we really thank him for sharing his knowledge. He took one of the sessions, Partnerships in Architecture. So we'll have the cohort members give us some feedback on the way the sessions went. You can go and take your seats. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for them once more. But we'll have some representatives from both cohorts come and say a thing or two. So I'll hand over to Aesthetics.
Thank you, sir. A round of applause for our chair. A round of applause for our cohort members from both 1 and 2 cohorts of the Leadership Development Program. Okay, just in case you're wondering what the Leadership Development Program was about, it was just about different topics and different architects from established organizations and practices speaking to us. So we had things like the role of architectural partnerships, for instance, and we had architect Udwak Udo, who is a partner with CCP, come and speak on that subject. Right, he is in the practice. He knows firsthand all the information to share with us. So we had people like architect Rosi Delano speak or lecture, because we believe that his practice has been able to establish, Delano Architects has been able to establish themselves for excellence in documentation, in consulting. So he spoke based on what he is doing. And so he spoke, it was a Zoom setup, about 60 people per session, plus the mentors. And then at the end of the whole 10 weeks, so it was like a whole curriculum of mentoring program put together, one speaker, one topic for 10 weeks. And at the end of the day, you are assigned to a lecturer. I said a lecturer. Yeah, you're assigned to a mentor as a mentee. And then you have further opportunity going to the office of your mentor, asking questions. I was assigned to architect Abimbola, for instance, in Lagos, with my other mentee, and just 2 persons or maximum of 3 persons per architect. We visited them, they gave us more opportunity to talk to us, shared first-hand information. So when we see, if we have the opportunity of having a cohort 3, we don't know, just as Architect says, if the current committee is going to go on, then we can be talking about another cohort. Or if not, we know that there will be more things related to the leadership development programs coming up. So at this point in time, we're going to have feedback. So I just gave an overview of what that particular program was all about. I'm going to be calling somebody from each cohort, and if we can take more than 1 or 2 responses, we will still take. But then please, with a round of applause for dedication and commitment to a 16 weeks learning program. Please put your hands together for Architect Oluwatimileyin Ojo as he comes up to represent cohort 1 to give a feedback on what the whole experience was like for the next 10 weeks. Don't you see that he's looking very dapper in his cap and his suit? Like he's our facilitator. Please celebrate him.
Thank you very much, everyone. A very good afternoon to you all. It's a privilege to be here, to stand before you and give my feedback on 25. A brief summary is there were online sessions on Zoom, which we held on Mondays There were one-on-one mentorship sessions with firm owners and industry leaders, some of whom you see seated in front of us here. And there are a lot more who donated and poured their hearts and soul into teaching us and mentoring us. Then there was a book review and a site visit and excursion to sites across Lagos. The next slide, please. The first session was the onboarding session. It was held by architect Kelechi Onyike. We had a lot of sessions, and I won't be delving too deep into what we learned, but I will just give an overview. Other people might give you details about what they learned from each panelist. He gave us the onboarding session. Then the prior president also gave us the building your image as an architect. We learned about personal branding as an architect, winning the respect of your clients, portfolio development. She talked about how we can diversify our portfolio. The next slide, please. The next panel session was with architect Roti Delano of Delano Associates, and it was a very insightful session. It was on excellence in architecture. It was held on the 30th of June, and it was also via Zoom. The next session, the next slide, please. That was held by architect Yinka Ogundairu of ACCL, and this was one of my very good sessions because it touched on using some of all our modern day tools. It talked about using MBS Chorus, it talked about using BIM, not just using Revit, but going a step further to actually collaborate with other professionals in BIM and, using clash detection, so it helps the project delivery process. And that was a session entitled The Making of a World-Class Project. Next slide, please. The next session was another session taken by architect Kelechi Onyike, the managing director of Project Associates. He also talked about the business of architecture. He taught us of how talent in architecture is not just enough, that we need to push a step further. Next slide, please. The next session was held by architect Ekaite Fuja Basi. She is the president of the Association of Consulting Architects of Nigeria, ACAN. Yeah, and she taught us on building a model architectural practice with a case study of our company, ATO Architects Limited. And it was a very insightful session. She started with the fact that we often have to, look at our physical appearance, look at our physical well-being. She was actually in a like tennis tournament on that particular day, and I quite pulled a lot from that. The next slide, please. The next session was held by architect Udwak Udo, is here seated, and of CCP, and his session was about building an architectural practice, was held on the 28th of June 2025. And the next slide, please. The next session was held by architect Titi Adeleye. She's the chair of the mentorship session, and building a good client base with architects and architecture firms was the title. Was held on the 11th of August 2025. And let's go to the next one. Then we had a book review. This was led by one of us within the cohort, architect Wina Deji Tolutile, MNIA, and the book was Good to Great, written by Jim Collins. I would endeavor